Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
To give you some background, the Habbo user Mary died in a car accident a few years ago, and some weird things happened with her account between 2011 and 2012. This will be a pretty short one, but I can only tell you what I know and remember, so I am sorry for the lack of detail. Feel free to ask any questions you may have. September 2010, Bree Atkins, aka Mary, dies in a car accident. Her Habbo account is password changed to a randomly generated password by the staff team to prevent anyone from jacking the account. Fast forward to around February 2011, and I get an email from my work colleague frantically telling me to get my ass in client to have a look at something he found in the trading room of a pretty famous user. Log in, load up the client, go to his Chamber of Secrets room, which is where he keeps all of the dodgy items he confiscates from people before feeding them into the in-game recycler in order to get rid of them in his downtime. Sat in the middle of his room are 3 trophies with blank inscriptions on them. 1 gold, 1 bronze, and 1 silver, all from the user Mary, and all of which were sent in January 2011, a noticeable amount of time after her death. I was pretty sure it was some sort of distasteful prank, and trust me, Habbo's community did distasteful very well in later years, and I went to check the last logged-in IP address on her account. Her frequently logged-in IP address is the only one that appears on the account, and nobody had logged into the account since her death, which means the trophies couldn't have been directly sent from her account. Nope. Pull my colleague about it, and ask him where the fuck they came from. Explore all possibilities as to how these trophies could have came into circulation. Nothing turns up. Drop investigating it, and he later recycles the trophies in order to delete them. Several other trophies from Mary showed up in-game in her friends' inventories, but we usually managed to grab them before anyone got a chance to see them. The incident was officially noted as an unknown bug, and nothing more was done about it. As far as I know, the entire moderation team were aware of these trophies existing, and one regular user, who used to be a moderator, was aware of it as well. Worth noting, neither me nor him had access to Mary, nor did we want access to it. The only people who had any chance at getting access to that account were her parents, upon requesting the login from us, and they never got in touch with us to do so. As a side note, at a later date, probably mid-2012, her Habbo user page changed, and someone spelt out Angel in letters above her username, which can still be seen, even though it is broken here. But I never followed it up. No idea who changed it, or for what reason, but it happened.
I apologize for shitty grammar, but it's early morning where I am. I should probably be asleep. Be late 2003. Dicking around with some moderators on Habbo.fi, We're off duty, so we're just shooting shit and having fun. I was a moderator for Habbo.jp, Habbo.fi, Habbo.es, and an incognito mod for Habbo.co.uk. Talking about the test account known as Monitorimatti, which is a staff-created bot which comes online and stands in the doorway of its room every 5 or 10 minutes for a few seconds and then vanishes. This is supposed to happen, and we are aware of it. It's there to do client checks or some shit like that. Finnish Modbro tells me that there's a bad Monitorimatti that logs in, fucks with the items in its room and leaves. Logs in once every hour and stays in its room for 5 to 10 minutes. Bullshit. Want to visit him? Fucking right I do. Takes me to a locked room that is pretty empty, owned by a user with a name that looks like Tester25ID, 28552 or some shit like that. Same shape as Monitorimatti's room, with maybe 8 to 10 items lined up along the border of it. Account characters are dressed exactly the same as Monitorimatti, but the key difference being the colors of the clothes, they're switched around. Instead of an orange top with blue jeans, black hair, and white shoes, he has white hair, a blue top, orange jeans, and black shoes. We wait for the character to appear, and sure enough, dead at 3 p.m. he appears and stays in the doorway. Instantly, the furniture in the room all moves at the same time, rotates around the floor map, moves out of the floor map into the backing of the room, which is done through scripting and hacking, and the avatar itself flashes between his own look and that of Monitorimatti every second so as he walks into the room. He walks in a square shape a few times before stopping in the center of it. Welcome. Hello. Hello, Mod Anon. Keep in mind, this is 2003. Shit like this wasn't too common from script kiddies who wanted to fuck with people for fun, especially on games. We both start asking this weird bot questions to see if it's programmed to do anything, but the most we get out of it is, "What?" when it doesn't understand the question. My name is Test Mod Anon, which appears when you said, "What is your name?" I do not like you. Randomly said this when you didn't speak to it. Please make yourself at home whenever you sit down on one of his chairs. Welcome every time someone entered the room. And finally, goodbye friends, come back soon whenever he went offline. We did multiple checks on this account and it didn't seem to belong to anyone who had any other accounts in-game, which was rather bizarre. We assumed that Apo, Sulake co-founder, possibly made it as an early test bot for the public rooms, but I find it highly unlikely, especially when it was doing shit that would get a normal user banned, such as scripting. One of the many things I'll never know the answer to. We all referred to the little guy as the Monitor, Anti-Matty, and Little Devil until he vanished in 2006 after a big upgrade happened. I was oddly sad to see him go.
I used to play Habbo. One chick joined this room I was active in. I had just signed up to MSN at the time. It was like mid-2000s. I was adding any friends I had there. I added her. She did not talk much at first until she learned I had a webcam. I did not do anything on the webcam, but her cam was always broke. She would always ask weird invasive questions. She would sometimes try and get my clothes off much later on. She would always get pissy and argumentative when I asked personal questions. Other friends said she was really flirty with them too and always asking them personal stuff. Like a year later, he admitted to being a guy, feeling ashamed of stuff he had done. Apparently, he was close to meeting with one of my friends. He logged off everything. I never learned his age. He never asked to meet, but the stuff he asked was weird.
2011. I met a guy called Giovanni from the Dutch version of Habbo. He owns a website dedicated to more or less breaking or disrupting gameplay with software he and his friends write. I will show you how clever you are when I nip your shit in the bud. I join his forum and start posting under the guise of being a normal user, eventually gain his trust, and end up as head moderator on said forum. I feed everything he creates back to my superiors because it is my job. The game gets patched, all is well. Eventually, Giovanni opens up to me about his personal life, as people often do on these games, and tells me he wants to off himself and all of that. I become a genuine close friend of his, and report back to my boss with what he has told me in regards to his personal life. My boss tells me to pass it on to the moderation team, who will forward it on to a suicide hotline charity. I eventually leave my job, lose contact with him, but never leave any doors closed. I gave him my email and never told him I ever worked for the company, even though he did have suspicions. Fast forward to 8 months ago, I received an email from Giovanni telling me he has had enough and he is going to off himself. This is pretty standard to me at this stage. I forward it to his friend saying, I am going to respond to this when I get in from work tonight. Talk to him until then. Thanks. By the time I read the email, he was already dead. It turns out he had offed himself earlier that day, and I missed him by about 3 hours. I noped out big time when I found out about it. Pretty normal and boring, but it fucked with me for some time as he confided a lot of shit in me at the time, and I didn't really see it coming when it came. If you want to hear about some of the weirder shit that I've come across, let me know. The earlier days were the weirdest ones for the hacking and scripting period, and the cult period, but the later ones were the weirdest for the stalkers and genuine psychopaths who wanted to kill and/or kidnap me.
I actually used to work for Sulake Corporation between 2003 and 2008. This gave me a little nostalgia rush, OP, because I haven't even heard anyone mention Habbo for a long time. You'd be surprised at how scary some of the shit was that did go on because of scripters, hackers, and even a few glitches. Be 2004-ish. Habbo camera is released, in beta mode on Habbo UK. The camera is working great, but it is possible to take pictures of shit that isn't in the client by using a scripting tool which I believe was either called Havoc or iHabix. This ultimately led to people creating photographs of pornography, shock images, and things such as that. On Habbo Japan, there is a user who went by the name Saxon, and he had a bunch of Habbo rooms which were given names such as Torture Chamber, No Way Out, They're Here, and other weird things. I shit you not. The black backing to his room had been covered in photographs which were dropped there using a wall extension script. Nothing special? Wrong. Every single one of the pictures depicted gore and other disgusting things. The room was locked down, pictures were all removed, and it was renamed Closed, and Saxon was banned. Fast forward 6 months, no more insane rooms from Saxon, but I decided to search his name, out of curiosity's sake. Literally all of his rooms have been reopened, and there are screenshots on Habbo photographs of all 5 of the mods, including myself, who went into his room to close them all, neatly lined up along a wall, with a sticky note next to them that just had "Smiley face always, watching," written on it.
2004, which puts me at 19 years old at the time. At this point, I was a community moderator, but I had a lot of free reign to do as I liked, so I could chat to users and such. I met a slightly younger girl called Julia, 18, on the newly opened Dutch version of Habbo, where I was supervising the launch and preventing the English users from making fools of themselves with the new Dutch community. She seems pretty nice, but she has shitty English. Asks me to talk to her more often so she can pick up the language. Sure, what could possibly go wrong? I add her over on the UK version, which is where I am based out of, and we get talking pretty often and become quite good friends. If anything, she grows increasingly infatuated with me, but I let it slide under the radar because I am used to it. Let us do the time warp again. 2006, which puts me at 21. Eventually, I become friends with a guy she knows called Adam, who warns me she is batshit insane and that I am an idiot for trusting her. His words were, "Just wait until she shows up on your doorstep, dude." I tell him, "Yeah, right, like that is gonna happen." I was wrong. One day, Julia stops coming on MSN and eventually drops off of Habbo for a week. Out of nowhere, I get a phone call in Dutch and broken English from a girl. "Ik hou van jou. Yes, I am here to see you. Anon." The line goes dead. No way, I go into full denial mode. Must be a prank call. Wrong again, Buster. A knock on my door later that day. Guess who it is? Julia. She throws herself over my doorstep and force hugs me. I do not really know how to react to this because I did not give her my address and I am terrified. What the fuck is happening? Invite her in regardless because I'm not a total asshole and ask her what she is doing here and how she found me. I try to keep as cool as possible. She just smiles at me and tries to explain. Turns out she got my address from a leak that happened on the customer support line 5 months prior, in which my address, work email, phone number, full name, the lot, was included with that of about 50 to 70 other people who worked for Sulake and Habbo. She sums it all up with, and now I am here to be with you forever and ever. I got a ferry here to be with you." What? I don't really know how mentally stable this chick is. I don't want to get my face peeled off. Ultimately end up spending the day with her, in which she acts like nothing is wrong, and likes clinging on to me and calling me her boyfriend. Play along with it both out of fear for my life, and partially for her sake as she is clearly a total nut job. She goes home after 2 days of this, and 3 months later ends up in the loony bin when she starts hearing voices and seeing things. Apparently there was a chunk of self-harm, and supposedly went for someone with a knife for saying they don't want anything to do with her anymore. Proceed to become terrified every time someone knocks on my door, knowing I quite easily could have been killed in the 2 days I spent with her. I ended up having to move house. Still makes me paranoid thinking about it to this day, and I occasionally have nightmares over it. Thank God I am no longer at that address.
One from my coworker, not directly related to Habbo or Sulake, but it happened inside one of their offices, which was a scary place to work at night. He is not the only person to have witnessed this or had this happen to him either. I will tell my version of this story later, as I can vouch for his lack of bullshit. B co-worker, working the night shift at Sulake head offices in Finland 3 days after he got the job. The year is 2004, and at the time, a part of working at Sulake involved a company ritual where you worked the graveyard shift, and most people, myself included, have a story about that shift. About 3 a.m., moderating.co.uk and .com simultaneously. Not much going on in the UK because of the time of night. .com is steady away because Americans. Suddenly hears a loud noise at the back of the office, assumes night security, says, "Hey." No response. Swivels around on his chair to look behind him. Computer 3 rows back turns on. I got a bad feeling about this Scoob. Goes to investigate. Checks the computer is booting up normally. Turns it back off by holding down the power button. Must be iffy electrics. The computer next to him turns on. Then another and another. Wobblylegs.gif turns them all off. Goes back to his desk to get his laptop so he can go back to his hotel and work there after shutting down his own desktop. Gets to his desk. His computer is already turned off, and his laptop bag is packed and neatly placed on his desk with his shit on top of it. Fuck this. Bailed out of the office. Looks back up. Window was open when it was closed before he left. Nah, I'm going. Walks about 5 miles back to his hotel at 3 in the morning. Remembers he left his laptop bag in his rental car. Too scared to go outside. Screw it. Sleep. Gets a call the following morning asking why he clocked off at 3 a.m. Explains. Oh, that's just our ghost. We call him Marco. He's just a bit of a prankster is all. The ghost has a fucking name, nope.
Going to use a name when I post Greentext. Hope you're all okay with that. Sometime between 2002 to 2005, on Habbo.co.uk there is a promotion going on with Nokia and Orange Mobile. Employees from both companies have access to an unlimited company account that allows them to buy Habbo credits at us for a cut rate, and then charge them back to the company. The idea behind it was so Nokia and Orange staff were able to buy furniture items for the promotional events that we were doing in-game with them. An employee from one of the two companies was withdrawing large amounts of credits, as much as 10,000 credits at a time, from the company account, which tallies up at quite a lot of money. I believe at the time, the rate we charged them out at was £50 for 500 credits to normal users. But Orange and Nokia employees got a cut rate of about £7 for 500 credits. One of the Habbos, voluntary moderators, offers to investigate this guy and find out exactly what he was up to. She gets back to us about it, and it turns out to be something quite horrifying. Turns out he was abusing his position in order to pay kids, and I mean kids 11 to 13-year-olds, for webcam chats and pictures via MSN, and we had plenty of evidence to back it up. She managed to create another account, pose as a 12-year-old, and convince this guy to reveal himself for what he was, a fucking nonce. We built up a huge case against him, but when we went to the higher-ups about it, they weren't interested. We approached them about it, and we were all sent an email that looked something like this. We are aware of the user in question, but thank you for the attempt to bring him to our attention. However, we will not be taking action against him as no real harm is being done. Both parties are getting what they want, and we are making a significant profit from it in the process. There is nothing more to be discussed in regards to this. And any members of the Habbo team caught discussing this amongst themselves are to be put through disciplinary, and upon a repeat offense suspended from the program indefinitely. Several people quit the Habbo program on the spot, and I threatened my manager by telling them I'd both resign and report the happenings to the police during a group meeting we had on MSN. At the time, I was working paid on customer support and community care, so I was obliged to protect the community at all costs, as it was a part of my contract, so I wasn't really able to stand for this even if I wanted to. He panics and begs me to do nothing of the sort, even tries bribing me by offering me a significant amount of overtime. I told him regardless of what he wants me to do, I'm emailing the guy's manager and making them aware of what he is doing. I do it, they fire him, and thank me for not making a noise about it. The members of the moderation and Habbo team that knew about it were sworn to silence by my higher-ups, and none of us ever spoke about it until we dropped our association with the company or resigned from our positions. One Habbo who spoke out about it first was Red Velvet, who was probably the most foul-mouthed person we had representing the company, referred to my manager as a Minecraft YouTuber enabling fuck when I asked her about it years ago. I really have no idea what the fuck he was thinking, nor do I have any idea what the fuck the rest of the managers were thinking when they followed through with his brain-dead idea of attempting to cover up a scandal amongst a community of gobshites. Interview with Red Velvet on the subject. I apologize. I got the phone company wrong while telling the story originally. Red Velvet. You hit dead on the snowball that made us quit. I was assigned to go undercover and investigate a man who was giving out thousands of credits worth of furniture every day in exchange for cybering with young girls. Once I got to know him, I found out he was an employee of Vodafone and was sending fake SMSs through their system to get free credits all day long. When I gave the head Habbo the logs of this investigation, she told me to keep it quiet and let him do what he wanted, since Vodafone was sending them the money that he was using and nobody was getting hurt. That broke my heart, my spirit, and my faith in the Habbo staff. I was bound by the Habbo contract not to speak of this for 6 months beyond the date I quit. Once that time limit was up, I was interviewed by Watchdog, which I'm told is a TV show in the UK, and told them everything. I have no idea if that ever made it on the air, as I live in the US. Other than chasing money over people, I saw no problems with the staff.
I used to play Habbo. I had only recently gotten what was MSN at the time. I was adding everyone I knew pretty much. I was even adding people I barely knew. They asked, and I gave because more people to talk to. Nudges, group conversations, etc. I used to be part of one of those Habbo roleplay and club things. I add some dude who is not there often but has been around for a while because he asks me. A few people know him, and they say he is cool, but nobody has him added. I added him. We talk, and he asks weird, inappropriate questions and stuff. I would have been like 13 at the time. He says he is just trying to get to know me. The next day, he asks if we could webcam. We do. He's older. Even though I knew this, darn it, he looks pretty old. We just talk regularly, but then come the weird questions. He starts asking about my wardrobe, which is weird. I show him some of my clothes. He says he would personally go for whatever combo he picked. He says I should get dressed into some of my cooler clothes. As in, he wants me to undress on cam. I started to get weirded out. He gets pushy with like the "we are both dudes and friends" thing. I nope, out. He acts all insulted when I close the cam. I blocked him. He has never been seen in the Habbo room since. Looking back, I think he had alts due to the way they typed and he just moved alts. Some of my online friends from Habbo say he asked weird questions too, even the ones that were older than I. They never went on cam with him though.
2007, 22 years old. Main bases of operations at this point in time are Habbo UK and Habbo USA. Going about my business in client, hosting an event in the US hotel, standing in for the site manager who is on vacation at that point in time. One of the on-duty moderators calls me over from my desk, was working out of the London offices on this particular day, with a worried look on his face. Anon, What should I do about this? Guy pulls up the chat logs from a room he was monitoring in spectator view. Looks like high-ranking staff member, who I shall call Colin, has been talking to a random girl in a room. Weird. He's not even supposed to be on shift. He's not at the office today. What's he doing online? Don't know, but read his chat log. Read through it, and it consists of him calling some girl none of us have ever heard of. Everything from the love of his life to a dirty little slut. All the while threatening to out her for what she's been up to her parents, unless she stayed with him. For fuck's sakes, Colin, what the fuck are you doing? Do checks on this girl's account, and her age checks out at 15 years old, and Colin, at the time, was about 30. How fucking long has this been going on? Tell the moderator who stumbled upon this to go and relax for a bit while I get to the bottom of this. Start digging through Colin's chat logs and gather that he's been seeing this girl for about 6 months, and that they've had cam chats outside of Habbo over MSN. Also notice that he's been gifting her loads of expensive and unreleased items in-game. Decided to force my way into Colin's work email to find out more information, as he used his work email as the recovery for his personal. Lock him out of his MSN and personal inbox and trawl through his emails. Bingo! I shit you not. Literally thousands of back and forth emails between him and this girl from Habbo, who was called Destiny. They started off casual and friendly, became quite romantic and filthy. Then the nudes came in, and then videos, then arguments. And then finally it ended with about 50 back and forths of him threatening her with nude pictures of herself and a list of her information, including her parents' bank details, address, phone number, etc., while she begs him not to, and sends him more nudes at his request in order to keep him from outing her. Feel fucking sick to my stomach. Release his email back to him after I take backups of everything and he doesn't know I've been into it. He plays it off as must have just bugged itself up. I'm back in now. Resist the urge to break his nose when he comes back into work the next morning. Keep an eye on him in client for a further 2 weeks after informing a company director about what is going on. Suddenly, Colin puts holidays in at work, and before he clocks off and leaves the office, he sends Destiny a message in Habbo saying, "See you there. Remember to bring it with you. I'll be about 2 hours." She does not get a chance to respond. Luckily, I was on duty, and I leaped on it the second he sent it. Oh no, you fucking don't. Literally jump out of my chair and run out of the office after him, and put my hand on his shoulder. "Colin, before you go, Director wants to talk to you." "I have somewhere to be. Can I do this later?" "No, you can't. It'll only take 5 minutes." "Fine." Police are called in. I hand in all of the evidence I've gathered against him. And the whole thing was very quietly dealt with between me, the mod who discovered what he was up to, a company director, and the police, in the privacy of said director's office. Colin got fired on the spot. His account got debaged and banned. His work email was seized. His phone was seized. His personal email was seized. His computer was seized. The police took everything. Girls' parents were informed, and I believe they got their daughter to press charges against him for harassment, stalking, amongst a whole pile of other things. Email is sent out to myself, and everyone else who was in the office the day Colin was led out, telling us all it was totally unrelated to anything regarding Habbo or Sulak Incorporation, and nobody believed it. As a side note, one of the female moderators I worked with spat at him as he was led out of the office by the police, and the only thing said to her was, "Enough." By one of the officers who came to pick him up, she just shook her head and went back to work after muttering something to herself. We never saw him again after that, and word has it, he did some time for his sins. I'm just glad I managed to put a stop to it before he fucking hurt someone.
I think this is the first genuine thing I've seen on any of these boards for a long time. You're a good person. Seriously, you didn't just sit by and do nothing like so many others do. You actually went to the effort of getting involved and stopping a piece of shit monster from destroying the lives of more people. I wish you the best in life.
2000. Habbo.fi, the pre-staff years. At the time, Habbo was called Hoteli Kultakala, or Goldfish for the English speakers among us. The community was small and tightly knit together. Everyone knew everyone. and things were pretty simple. December rolls around and the staff are doing a Christmas event and a giveaway to celebrate the upcoming launch of Habbo.co.uk in January the next year. The site suddenly goes offline, which wasn't uncommon at the time, as the whole thing was technically still in beta. The hotel immediately reloads, and everyone's rooms are missing, including the public bars and everything else. Alert appears on the hotel view in Finnish that translated to someone threatening to wipe out the entire database out and stop the launch of the UK hotel unless Oppo and Sampo, founders of Sulake and Habbo, pay up $10,000. Another alert quickly follows in English reading, "Don't panic, we got this." Hotel goes down and instantly goes back online again. All of the rooms are restored, and the hotel gets immediately alerted with another Finnish message, this time saying "Valet pois," which translates to "lights out." Hotel drops offline again, and this time stays down for 3 hours, with a message standing in its place, both in English and Finnish. Not to worry, we'll fix this. When the hotel eventually comes back online, all of the rooms are restored, but every single one of them is called "suck." Another alert in Finnish. This time it roughly translates to "pay up, are you scared?" Down it goes again. All of the rooms are restored back to normal next time the hotel comes back online, and the hotel alerts stop. Nobody ever explained publicly what was going on, and I still don't know to this day. Asked about it when I eventually got a job at Sulake, and nobody there could share any light on it. Asked Sampo about it, and he just shrugged it off as just another attack that happened in the earlier days. One of the devs probably fixed it.
My experience with Habbo as a teen was mostly playing the part of a con man and tricking people into giving me furniture and items through elaborate fake game shows and contests. No hacking involved, just old-fashioned manipulation. Other times I would just fuck around with people for fun. One time I held a huge giveaway in a big room filled to the brim with stuff. The line eventually became massive to the point where people couldn't get in anymore. People were so excited and happy. I was hyping this giveaway for an hour and finally I said, "Get ready, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I disconnected. Dumb troll shit, but I laughed really hard afterwards.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.